Hey guys, today I am on white, and I think you know what that means because it really can only mean like one thing, and that is today I am going over how to shoot product photography. I have a product today that I think is super fitting considering everything that's going on, and it's made locally here where I am by a very sweet lady who I would just love to help out by, getting it out there. Well, not only by getting it out there, but by taking the photos for her listing, and help her boost her views and her reach with good images, which I know is something everybody is interested in doing, especially people who sell on Amazon or do arbitrage or anything like that. I'm not a guru when it comes to how to build a listing or anything like that. Granted, I do know a little bit about it, but I don't feel like I know enough to actually share. My forte is in the photo world, which, as we all know, if you have a great photo on your listing, people are going to buy, they're going to stop, they're going to look. People shop with their eyes, so you want to draw the attention with something touching, something fun, and something beautiful. We're going to go over how to shoot some basic, simple product photography on white. Now, the platform I'm shooting for today for my client is not Amazon, but I do feel with her product specifically, the white background fits. So we're going to go on white. If you're shooting on Amazon, or if you're shooting for Amazon, white is your base color. It's what you want. If you didn't know, put it on white and it's all right. That's made that up. I coined that, and if anybody tries to take that from me, that's not okay. All right, so yeah, put a little like random more quote right there. So I'm going to go over the settings that I use for this particular setup. Now, granted, the way I shoot it isn't the only way to shoot it, and there's probably many other ways. Well, there are many other ways to go about this, and just because it's how I do it doesn't mean it's how everybody does it. There are different factors that are involved, and things that need to be taken into consideration. Your lighting, like your light source. If your lights are set closer than mine, if your lights are stronger or weaker than mine, that's always something that you want to consider. So my settings are a good rule of thumb, but definitely not something like, if you need to tweak something, tweak it. So if you need something brighter, brighten it. If your camera's going to be different than mine, so your settings are going to vary. As far as that goes, I am shooting on a Sony a7 II. But if you don't have an a7 II, it's not the end of the world. You can well, kind of is, but it's not the end of the world for you and your product photos. You can totally do this with another camera. Pro tip, subtle differences are devil's in the details, guys. Like, seriously. The littlest things subconsciously trip you up. So you may be looking at two things and you don't know why one is pulling on you more than the other, but it's because one of them has hit more details and took a little more time to fine tune than the other has. So that's where product photographers like myself come in. So yes, you can do it. If you're on a tight budget, you can do this yourself at home. I do recommend hiring someone such as myself to shoot for you, just because there's little things that we're going to look for that you may not notice. I might make a video on that later, but today we're just going to stick with the basics on shooting on white and what some of those settings are going to look like for the product that we are shooting today. So
every camera here is a little different. Some cameras are full auto and some let you make adjustments. My camera is, like I said earlier, the Sony a7 II. So I'm going to set my camera to manual, and then I'm going to adjust the settings from there. If you don't have a raw setting on your camera, you can just pick the largest JPEG setting that you have. So some cameras go, they'll say size, and they'll have like large, medium, small, or they'll have quality for super fine, and normal. So I would pick the highest of those options. So you kind of gotta look at what your camera offers and then go from there. So what I like to do is make sure my ISO is set at 100. Your ISO controls the sensitivity of your sensor. The higher the ISO, the more noise there is. In product photography, it's better to have, you're looking for a smoother image. So the lower the ISO, the smoother the image is going to be because there will be less grain. Now, if you do that and you don't adjust the settings accordingly to expose it correctly, and then you go, say it's too dark when you shoot it, and then you go to change, like you go to brighten it up in post, you're just going to create grain anyway. So it's better to get it in camera to look as beautiful and as well lit as possible. If you don't have lighting that allows you to drop it all the way to 100 and you need to do 400 or 200 or whatever looks good, I would do that, but I wouldn't, typically I would probably try to get it the lowest that I could. So in this case, I do have studio lights set up, so I'm able to drop mine to 100. So that's where I have it. So as far as your f-stop and your shutter are concerned, this is something, again, you have freedom to choose and like kind of play around with. I like to make sure that my images are sharp and in focus. F11 is a good like middle of the road f-stop to keep it at. It doesn't close the aperture down too much so that it's too dark, and I have to find other ways to compensate for lighting to come in. I don't have the brightest lights on the planet. If I did, that would be a different story. I don't. So F11 is where I like to sit, make sure my images are crisp all the way through. Now, because of my lighting setup, and I have my ISO at 100, and I have F11, and I have my aperture, it isn't wide open. So my image is actually pretty dark at this point. So what I've done to compensate for that is my shutter, I've dropped way low to 1/8. Now I'm on a tripod. I would not recommend shooting under 1/60th if you are not on a tripod. So if you're gonna go handheld, 1/60th and up, you're good. Like I said, I'm very adamant on keeping ISO at 100 whenever I can. So I like to adjust my f-stop and my shutter to make sure that those are compensating and making sure that the ISO can stay where it is. So after I have all of that set up, I like to check my exposure. I'll zoom in, I'll take a picture and zoom in here. You can see that it's in focus. It is white on white, but I can see a clear difference here. It all looks good. I mean, you see this through the GoPro, so I'm sure it looks a little different than it does in real time for me. So I'm not overexposed. Now, if you have to choose between one or the other and you are editing these in post, it's always safer to shoot a little darker than it is too bright, because you can bring back your darks, but you can't bring back your brights as easily. Something you want to do, or something you want to look for, is setting your white balance. I just keep mine on auto. My Sony does a really good job on picking up what it needs to be. I mean, there's some settings, like if I am outside in the shade, or, you know, I know that I'm in fluorescent or tungsten light and I can just throw it on there. I mean, you can always go through your white balance settings and look what looks best. But I do find that cameras are advanced enough that you throw it on auto, it's going to be right a majority of the time, especially in a controlled environment like this one. So I just leave mine on auto, and that's pretty much the only auto setting other than an autofocus that I will really ever use. So I like to try to put my stuff in the same spot for lighting, especially in this situation because I'm just swapping out product for product. So if you keep it in the same spot, you don't have to worry about all your settings changing and all of that jazz. Right, and there you have it. Very simple setup, and I will show you guys the final results. So you can see everybody's evenly exposed. Everybody's on white, everybody's looking sharp, crisp, good quality photos for this listing. I'm super excited I got to share this with you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I am looking forward to talking to you a little bit more about product photography and going over some more of the basics. If you have anything specific you'd like me to go over, please leave a comment and, hit that subscribe button and the bell so you know when I upload my next video. And until then, have a wonderful day. I will see you all next time.